The Ninja Gaiden series is having one hell of a 2025. In the 3D space, we already got the remade Ninja Gaiden 2 Black earlier this year, and in October we will be getting Ninja Gaiden 4. This franchise wasn't always in 3D though, and with Ragebound we returned to its 2D side-scrolling roots. Developers of the Game Kitchen are well versed in this space as they are hot off Blaspehmous and Blaspehmous 2, but is there enough interest to return to a 2D action platformer after we have had several 3D titles? What's up? How's it going, people? Welcome to Casual Gamer Reviews. If you want to support this content, please leave a like and subscribe, or if you don't like it, then please leave a thumbs down and let me know how I can be better for you. I have spent 15 hours with Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, reviewed on Xbox Series X. The gameplay of Ragebound is without a doubt its strongest asset. It's simple, fast-paced, and above everything, extremely entertaining. Usually if a game had simple combat, it would imply negative connotations, but not here. The simplicity is what makes it so engaging and fun to interact with. Being a 2D side-scrolling game, you want it to be fast-paced, and so naturally most enemies will die with a single hit. There is one attack button that swings your sword and two other buttons that perform range attacks, which are tied to a stamina meter. Outside of this, you have your special Nimpo move, which has a slow recharge, so you are only going to be using this once or twice per stage, and honestly you should be using it on the boss. Now technically the difference between the melee and range attacks are because they are used by two different people. Kenji, the ninja of the Hayabusa clan, uses his sword, whilst Kumuri of the Black Spider clan uses her kunais as throwable weapons. Due to some paper-thin narrative, the two actually merge together in this game, so you can use them as one, but more about that in the story segment. Notice how I said that most enemies will die with a single hit? Well, as I'm sure you have deduced, there are some that will take multiple hits. This is where the game introduces hypercharge attacks. These will slice through an enemy with a single hit, but requires some finesse to pull off. Every single time you come across one of these beefier enemies, there will be a standard enemy that will enter your space that will be glowing with a blue or pink aura. These auras correspond to the attack that should be used against them. Blue means sword attack and pink means ranged attack. If you successfully kill this standard enemy, you will absorb the aura and have a window to pull off the hypercharge attack. You can also get this attack by sacrificing a bit of your health, but I found this to be for emergency use and is nowhere near as fun. The loop then becomes slicing and dicing everything on screen as quickly as possible, but also identifying situations where you need to perform a certain move to get a hypercharge attack. It flows really well because it is just so simple and makes you feel incredible when you pull off a sequence of consecutive hypercharge attacks. Trust me, it is such an endorphin boost gliding through swarms of enemies with no hesitation. In addition, there is of course platforming, or else this wouldn't be much of a nod to the retro classics. Within combat you have a move called the guillotine boost, which will be activated only when in mid-air by pressing the jump button again. This will cause you to bounce on the enemy, throwable weapon or object. This can be used to boost you to higher areas and cross gaps in platforming sections. It can be used to kill smaller enemies, or it could be used to bounce over the top of enemies and get behind them. In practice, the guillotine boost is the most versatile move in your arsenal and it feels great to bounce off everything. I will also say it's especially useful at defeating some bosses and is essential if you want to complete no damage runs. The platforming outside of combat mostly boils down to timing jumps between small ledges, sometimes performing a boost or slicing an enemy while doing so. Where the challenge really started to appear were with the demon gates. These gates allow Kumuri to cross to the demon realm and separate herself from Kenji. All of these instances were platforming sections. A handful of times these would be easier ones to progress the stage, but more often than not they would be tough challenge runs to get a collectible. I still haven't beat the one on the final bonus level, it's really hard. Kumuri moves very similarly to Kenji, but she only has access to her ranged weapons and she also is on a time limit before she returns back to the mortal realm. Therefore, these are sections you are likely to be attempting multiple times as you need to be almost perfect with your movements on some of the later ones. These were without a doubt some of my favourite segments of the entire game. The way that Ragebound is structured is several stages across 4 acts. Each of these stages gives you a score like we have come to expect from Ninja Gaiden and can be replayed at any time. You are ranked based on the 3 challenges you can try to complete, the speed you can complete the level, and also the difficulty. Given the fast-paced nature of the gameplay, I expected these stages to be brisk and 15 mins tops, but some of these could take double that if not more if you are dying a lot. That is just far too long in my opinion for this type of game. With the speed everything runs at, you need to be in and out, but inevitably, with something that lasts 30 plus minutes, you will come across areas of slowdown and it's just a bad touch. I would have preferred more stages that were shorter across the story's 7 to 8 hour runtime. Most of the stages do end with some kind of boss, with each act coming to a climax with the main threat of that particular part of the story. The boss fights are where the positive sentiments come flooding back for Ragebound. These fights are difficult and will take multiple attempts, but are so beautifully intuitive you will feel like you are learning something every time rather than just banging your head against a wall. Once again, this comes down to the simplicity of the combat. You will learn when it's best to guillotine boost and when it's best to dodge, whilst always swiping damage away and keeping your eyes peeled for that hypercharge attack. I was also impressed by the variety of bosses. Given Ragebound's short runtime, there is a surprising amount of bosses to fight, with almost every one of the 17 missions ending with one. A couple of these are returning due to the story implications, but pretty much all the other ones are unique fights to overcome. To assist with the gameplay, you have Muramasa's shop. In this shop, you can buy different weapons for Komori's range attacks, talismans to give you buffs or debuffs depending on how much you want to challenge yourself, and also Ninpo moves. At any given time, you can equip 2 talismans, 1 spider weapon, and 1 Ninpo. The currency is golden scarabs that you will have to find hidden throughout the stages. There are accessibility options if you find the game too difficult with an assist mode. The assist mode has sliders in which you can adjust things like incoming damage and speed of the game. I would really recommend trying it on the default difficulty first, as it is very rewarding, but if you are struggling, these options are there for you. Visually, Ragebound's pixel art graphics are gorgeous and vibrant. There is so much color in this game, and I think the graphics do a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to the level design. Some of these levels are pretty boring in terms of their setting and just weren't that engaging as a grand stage for a ninja's ascent against demon hordes. A construction site and a generic cave sadly are not what I'm looking for with these types of games. I want the gorgeous backdrop or high-speed chase sequences across ever-changing scenery. Now, we do also get this, so I can't complain too much. There are 3 moving levels where you are being chased on a motorbike, a jet ski, and then on top of a moving train. There was also one fight which stuck in my mind where we had to kill waves of enemies atop a ship bathed in the sunset. I just wish more of this game was like the levels I just described. For the character designs, Kenji and Komori look awesome, and they were definitely the standouts for me. They revolve around the 2 main colors of blue and pink, so it's easy to assign them to the hypercharged look. Not to mention how completely ripped they both are. The bosses were all grotesque, fleshy demons of hell, and just looked even better in their 2D pixelated forms than I could imagine their 3D counterparts to look. On the general enemy designs though, the sentiment is not so positive. The basic demons and humans you fight in the earlier levels are not that interesting to look at, but then the game does explore some incredible enemy designs in the middle of the pack. There are some evil witch-like knife-throwing creeps, a dual-wielding katana bro who flies through the air at you, or my favourite biological mess of the mutated humans. For some inexplicable reason though, as you enter the later stages of the game, you start to see all of the basic enemies again from the earlier stages more frequently, and I didn't really understand why they wouldn't be left behind. It made the game feel a little too uninspired to progress on the upwards curve it was setting for itself. In terms of performance, the game is buttery smooth on Xbox, and I've read the same about PlayStation and PC. However, the Switch version is locked at 30 FPS. This is because they haven't got a Switch 2 native version and it is running the Switch 1 software. All I can say to that is do not play this game on that system. 30 FPS is absolutely criminal for a game of this speed. If Nintendo is the only system you own, I would wait a bit for them to release a Switch 2 version. The Ragebound soundtrack is composed by Sergio Di Prado, who also did some sound design on the Game Kitchen's previous Blaspehmous titles. On some tracks, there are also contributions from the composers of the original Ninja Gaiden trilogy. The OST as a whole is awesome, and it is very reminiscent of arcade cabinets where games like this would have originated. It is very fast-paced electronic beats infused with Japanese audio cues and often with the flair of an electric guitar for some sick riffs when you are in the heat of battle. The fast-paced nature of the music is extremely befitting for a game where you want to move at 100 miles per hour, as it has the unrelenting momentum to carry you through. It really elevates the euphoria of getting through a hard section when you are headbanging throughout. There is an LP you can buy for this game soundtrack, and if I had a record player I would get it as I love physical media. The 2 discs are in the blue and pink colorway and it looks so beautiful. The story in Ragebound is surface level at best. It is not original, it often doesn't make sense, and all in all it isn't good. Ultimately, it serves as a vessel to give you a lightweight structure to get you on your path from point A to B. Given how basic it is though, I think this game would have been better served to not have it at all and just be a stage-based game with bosses. To start the game, we are introduced to Kenji, who is Ryu's apprentice in the Hayabusa clan. This is all we get to see of Ryu before he is rushed off to America on a mission you have to assume is where the 3D games begin canonically. A demon gate is opened and Kenji must protect the village and fight through the swarms. On the same timeline, we are introduced to Komori, who is a member of the Black Spider clan. Experiencing the same breakout of demons, the Black Spider clan plan to trap the Demon Lord in their enchanted dagger to abuse his power as opposed to trying to make a deal with them as they have done before. Things go badly for Komori, and when Kenji finds her an inch from death, she advises him to use this dagger on her, which means her soul combines with his body, allowing you to control both of them through one body. As nonsensical as this is, I didn't have an issue with this part of the story, and honestly I liked having both characters together with their abilities rather than having them apart like we do in the first portion of the game. The story then goes on with the 2 ninjas trying to close the demon gates and save the world. The CIA shows up, human experiments happen, there's some jet skis and skeleton pirates. It's all a bit messy. It's not offensive, but it's not engaging either. Ragebound has hours of side content if you want to challenge yourself. Firstly, there is the 7 secret ops missions you can find throughout the game, which have different levels of difficulty the deeper you go. There are also 3 endings to the story, one of which requires you to complete the game on hard mode, which is only unlocked by completing the story on default difficulty first. I tried to do a playthrough on hard mode and it is far too difficult for me, but I'm sure there are plenty out there who'd love to test themselves. Crystal skulls make a return, and the other collectibles are scrolls and golden scarabs to be used in Muramasa's store. The replayability is there due to the ranking of the stages. If you want to go back and get those S ranks, the game recommends it. Some of the challenges are really difficult, especially those on the bonus missions, so getting those S ranks will only be for the most skilled and determined of players. I have spent a handful of hours going back through the levels, getting the collectibles and trying to complete those challenges, as well as getting 2 of the 3 endings. There are unlockable outfits for Kenji and Komori, of which I only saw a couple, but given that they are there, I'm certain there will be more secrets for the most skilled of players to find. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is a great 2D action platformer boasting gorgeous pixel art graphics. The combat is amazingly simple, which is a blessing and not a curse, and the intuitive controls make you feel like a master on the sticks. This game does not shy away from the endorphin hits, with a challenge that feels just right and boss fights that are some of the most enjoyable I have experienced in recent memory. The high-speed nature of the gameplay loop, accompanied by the blasting soundtrack, creates an unforgettable atmosphere, and this title will be one I'll be going back to at various points in the future to waste an hour or so away. This game is not perfect though, and some of the level and enemy designs are basic and ordinary, not to mention some of them being far too long. The story is pedestrian and would have served a better purpose by not being there at all. In conclusion, I think the Game Kitchen have crafted something that is inarguably fun and something I am happy to recommend. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound gets a casual gamer score of 8 out of 10. Check out the channel for more reviews, spoiler casts and discussions. I have also started doing quick looks, and my first one is up now for The Adventures of Elliot the Millennium Tales. If you want to show your support, please leave a like and subscribe, or leave a thumbs down. I will try to be better next time. Let me know in the comments below if you are going to play Ragebound, and for everything else casual gamer, keep it here. Peace and love.